County Camera, our favorite TV show!
Yeah!
Hi, welcome to County Camera!
Good evening and welcome to County Camera. You know, Cindy, I think things are picking up here at the shore. There seems to be a lot more activity and people here than there have been in previous weeks.
This past week reminds me of what summers in Cape May County have looked like in past years. And the reason for this is a lot of Cape May County residents have pulled together in their efforts to ease the gas shortage. And tonight we're going to find out who they are and what they do.
There's an awful lot of things to do here at the shore besides just the 3 Bs. You know what the 3 Bs are, Cindy?
Beach, boardwalk, and bars?
Right. And one of those is the Cape May County Park. And tonight we're going to meet with a new resident from the Park Zoo.
And we'll be looking at the ocean in 2 different ways. We'll be getting a report from the Health Department on water quality testing in Cape May County, and Mr. Lou Brody will be giving us a fishing report.
And we're going to see an actual Coast Guard helicopter rescue. And we're going to have a lot more on our show tonight, so stick around.
Recently, County Camera went to the Coast Guard Air Station and spoke with Public Affairs Officer Jim Peoples about its operations.
Coast Guard Air Station Cape May is one of approximately 27 Coast Guard air stations located around the continental United States, Alaska, Hawaii, and Puerto Rico. We have 3 of these particular aircraft, which are Sikorsky HH-52A Seaguard helicopters. Primarily, they're located here for search and rescue. By that I mean life-saving missions, either lives, injuries, or property. And then in conjunction with that, they're involved in enforcement of federal laws and treaties. Primarily in the way of treaties would be the international fisheries agreements that we have that can involve foreign fishing fleets off American shores. We also are heavily involved in marine environmental protection in the way of oil spills in the Delaware Bay, the Delaware River, the Chesapeake Bay, Baltimore Harbor, and the Philadelphia area. Then we are also involved with the United States Customs in enforcement of drug interdiction. The basic medevac process, which, to use the example of the one today, involves primarily the duty radio watchstander receives either a mayday call or a distress call from the vessel. In this particular case, he's talking about a medevac. The vessel at hand gives him a call, states that he has a person who has been injured and needs to talk to a doctor.
Cape May Coast Guard, Cape May Coast Guard. Motor vessel overseas Ursula, Whiskey X-ray Papa 225 on channel 16.
Motor vessel overseas Ursula. This is Coast Guard Group Cape May. Go ahead, Captain.
Cape May, this is overseas Ursula, Whiskey X-ray Papa 225. I have an injured man on board requesting medevac.
Okay, the radio watchstander gets all this information concerning what is happening, where, location, so that several things can take place then. One, the chief in the operations center will start to plot the position, will notify the duty crew that there is a medevac in process. He will get in touch with the duty doctor, which is normally one of the doctors here at Trace Inn. or possibly a doctor from Public Health Service in Washington, New York.
And give me the duty, doctor. Yes, Doctor, Chief Longo, Op Center. I've got a request for a medevac. Vessel anchored off of Big Stone Anchorage in Delaware Bay. Yes, sir, he's bleeding in the head and chest. Bleeding is controllable. Just a minute, sir. And his pulse. Yeah, they're getting that right now, doctor. He's 32 years old, male, U.S. citizen. Name is John Freeze.
With the information that we've received from the vessel, the doctor will make a decision as to whether the individual should be taken off by a surface vessel or should be medevaced by a helicopter. In this case, the doctor has determined that the individual would be medevaced by a helicopter and taken to a local hospital, which in the case of hospitals for us would be either Beebe Hospital in Lewis, Delaware, Burdett Tomlin Hospital, Cape May Courthouse, Shore Memorial up in Summers Point, or Atlantic City Mainland Medical Division, which is in Pomona, New Jersey, primarily. And then if it was a burn case, then either up to Philadelphia or maybe Baltimore Trauma Center, or in the case of a diver who is suffering from the bends, more than likely the University of Pennsylvania Medical Center in Philadelphia.
Lieutenant Peoples had this advice for boat owners in Cape May County.
Primarily, the biggest thing is to think about what they're doing. And by that I mean to think about the survival aspect, that things can happen on the water that don't normally happen other places. You leave and think that you're going to come back in the afternoon, and you're out at night and we can't find you, and the main reason is if you had a flashlight or something that a strobe light that would flash, it may be a lot easier for us to find us, whether we're in a helicopter or in a boat. Also, having survival flares is a great help. A VHF FM radio, which is a marine band type radio, is a lot better than having a CB. We can home on a VHF FM radio and can get to you a lot quicker. Common sense, along with these survival instruments, will really increase your chances if something does happen.
Next up, come on in, the water's fine.
Concern to residents and vacationers in Cape May County right about this time of year is the quality of the water. And this afternoon we're speaking to Lewis Joyce from the Health Department. And Lewis, how have your tests gone so far this year?
So far this year, we've done tests on, I think, every week, every weekend from the beginning of June. And the water quality has been generally very good. We've had very few problem spots any place this summer.
Why would it be good one year and bad another year?
Well, a number of factors could come into play, one of them being rainfall. We had mentioned before that the amount of rainfall that gets into the storm sewers and washes out on the beaches sometimes is contaminated. If there's a lot of rain, then you're going to find a high count of bacteria in the waters that are receiving the storm sewage as the surface water runoff from the roads and the streets. But we've had very little rain in terms of in the time period that we've been sampling, so we've had very good water quality results. If we have a relatively clear summer as we've had for the last couple of weeks, then I'd say we won't have any more problems. But if we get a problem with some severe storms, if a hurricane happens to come this way or we get a lot of rainfall, then we can see a drastic change in the water quality. It's something that is hard to predict. It's been getting better every year because we've called attention to the problems and had them corrected. We hope that it'll stay that way for the rest of this year.
Do you recommend just for everyone to go in and enjoy it and not worry about it?
Go in and get wet, swim, splash, have a good time.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lewis.
Okay, you're welcome.
Coming next, it's all happening at the zoo.
If you're bored and can't think of anything to do on rainy days or weekends, or any day really, why don't you come on up and have fun and relax at the Cape May County Park. It's on Route 9, just north of Cape May Courthouse. And there's really a multitude of things to do here. One of the favorites is the Park Zoo. We happen to be at the County Park Zoo talking to the zoo director, Mr. Hal Prickett. And Hal, about how many animals do you have?
Right now we have approximately 83 animals that are registered with our file as far as what we have in the zoo. And staying basically with a few farm animals, a few exotic, and a few New Jersey right now. We're still pretty young. We've only been here a little over 2 years. So I imagine in a few years we'll grow, we'll get a little larger, we'll accumulate a few more animals. But right now we're staying basically under 100 animals for the management and other reasons.
Do you have any rare animals here? Animals that people wouldn't get to see normally
yeah, for instance, some South American kinkajou, which is primarily in a raccoon family. That's over in the exotic area. Fallow deer, I don't think you would see one of them every day. It's from Asia. He's beautiful, he's white. And, of course, our African lion, which seems to be our main attraction.
And you're talking about Newmar, right? Very, very famous among zoo residents here.
Definitely.
Do you have any new animals, Hal, at all?
Our Mouflon sheep, I'd say, as far as the exotic animal, is probably our newest addition. And we have 3 of them. As a matter of fact, we acquired 2. We ended up with 3 because of the fact that the female gave birth to a young on Christmas Eve. I had come in the next morning, and there it was, you know, a young female Mouflon sheep, which was born Christmas Eve. So we went ahead and named it Noel, which we found very appropriate for the time. So that was definitely a surprise. Beans, I didn't even know she was pregnant, you know? It's definitely...
Okay, how about this beautiful looking animal behind
Well,
us?
this young guy here, we located him off a couple of gentlemen that were walking behind the Middle Township School out here on Courthouse, up here in Courthouse, and came through the channels from other sources, through game warden sources and stuff, that they had it, and they had come over, brought him to the park, and we accepted it. You know, at the time I think he was about 3 weeks old. Now he's about 6.5, almost 7 weeks old. We've had him now for almost a month, a little over a month, and a little skeptical at first whether he was going to make it. You know, he was so young, being away from his mother and all. He was a little shy, but he came around. He's definitely going to be with us for the remainder of his life, I'm sure.
Okay, come on up and visit Hal and all the zoo animals up here. I think you'll have a fun and friendly time. Hal, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Up next, a few tips for all you fishermen.
Fishing is a very important industry. In fact, it's the second largest business in Cape May County other than tourism. But on the lighter side, during the summer, it's one of Cape May County's favorite pastimes. And this afternoon we're speaking to Mr. Lou Rodia, who works for the Department of Public Affairs, but who is also an avid fisherman. And he's going to give us a fishing report. Mr. Rodia, where could you find flounder and the other different kinds of fish? Where are some of your favorite spots?
Right now, the flounder fishing has settled itself to some degree in the inland waterway. Grassy Sound, the channels behind Avalon and Stone Harbor, and back of Wildwood, around West Wildwood, there's good flounder fishery in there for the small boats. Offshore, in the ocean, around McRae's, north of McRae's Shoal, there's a good spot to flounder fish there. At around 3FB Buoy, there's another little spot I like for flounders. Over at the Anchorage and Delaware Bay, and right now up around Miami Shoal Light, there's a lot of good flounder fishing up there.
What kinds of bait or tackle would you recommend using?
Well, the best bait for flounders, with the exception of out in the ocean itself, is minnows, live minnows. Next bait for flounders then would be squid, cut up sea robin, sharks, cut up flounder, the white underside of the flounder cut up into strips. They're all good flounder baits.
A lot of people go out on boats, but do you think that you can catch just as much fish if you stood out on the jetty?
Well, actually, there's certain times of the year when the jetties are extremely productive, and as the summer comes on, they tend to drop off in productivity and then pick up again in the fall when the water starts to get colder. But I think by far and large, you'll catch more fish per hour fishing on the boats than you will on the jetties themselves. It's a little different type of fishing altogether.
Mr. Rodia, what kinds of fish can we expect to be catching within this summer period?
Well, from now until the end of the season, your main fish again will be bluefish, weakfish, sea bass, ling, the offshore fish. You'll have the marlins, you'll have the tunas, the dolphins, the albacores, bonita. Pretty much that'll be the main fish for down here.
And no lobster?
Well, lobster, that's something that you have to dive for. The skin divers pick up a few lobsters, and of course they're caught commercially, but they're offshore in deeper water and colder water. Very rarely you'll catch one in along the beach. I have seen them caught on party boats by accident, but you don't really fish for them.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Rodia, are there any tips that you could give fishermen as far as maybe safety goes?
Yeah, if you're fishing in your own boat, watch the weather. As a rule of thumb, I found that if it's bad in the morning, it doesn't seem to get any better during the day. So if you go out in bad weather, the chances are you're going to be wet and cold and miserable and maybe jeopardizing your life in your boat. So we advise our people all the time to watch the weather. They should get to know their boat and know what its capabilities are, and to know the inlets, to know what the inlets are capable of doing so they can get in and out, and to develop a very healthy respect for the sea itself. It's a wonderful place to be, but it can be extremely dangerous at times.
And now the latest on the gas crisis. Everyone is painfully aware of the current gas situation. If it hasn't already hit you in the pocket, then it must have certainly tried your patience while waiting online. All right, you say. We're tired of hearing about the miseries of long lines, rising prices, and a slumping tourist economy. Well, so are we. So tonight we're not going to dwell on these miseries. We are, however, going to show you some positive action that's being taken by members of the community. Bob Patterson from the Cape May County Chamber of Commerce had these comments.
Well, they have had meetings in each of their own resort towns to come up with ideas and additional funds to buy additional advertising. There are ads running in metropolitan newspapers, both in the United States and in Canada, trying to reassure the public that we do have gasoline, that we do have a gasoline hotline service available 7 days a week, that if they cannot find gas when they're here, they can call this number. The hotline service is available to tell them where the nearest gas station is that's open. They have gone into some of the towns to guarantee them a free night's lodging if for some reason they can't find gas to get home. They have bought additional ads on television. They're flying banners over Montreal and over the ball field in Philadelphia at the ball games, and Wildwood has gone into the aerial banner advertising. Cape May has come up with a free room if for some reason you can't get gas to get back out of town again. And they are, in general, trying to restore public confidence in the ability to travel and have a vacation. The media in many places have scared the public to the point that everyone is afraid to take a chance to travel. To the best of our knowledge, during the height of the energy crisis in New Jersey, no one got stranded in Cape May County.
Well, people are just frightened. They figured they'll spend too much time on the highway. They're afraid they might not get gas. Yeah, we keep telling them there's plenty of gas in Wildwood, but they're skeptical.
At the early part of the season that we bombed out, it hurt us terribly. Because in other words, the week of June the 29th on, with the media in the various cities saying that there was no gas around, it hurt us. Yet there was a lot of gas here. Mayor Musiana has assured the guest, and it was true, that if they come in to Wildwood, they would have plenty of gas to get home. And but now it is picking up. As far as our reservation, we're running around 20 to 25% better than last year.
This past week?
This past week and right on into July. Right now, it's in July, we're about 85% booked for July and 60% for August.
I think the business community at large has responded both quickly and in a way that you can feel good to be in business in this neck of the woods. For example, the gas station dealers, they got the Chamber of Commerce and the Motel Association, everybody got together and then decided they're going to have the stations open at times that it makes sense, at times that will facilitate the traveling public.
The business is down 50%.
Right now, it's going down 50%. Yes. Do you see it going up before the end of the summer?
I'm sorry, I did not understand your...
Do you think it'll go up before the end of the summer? Do you think
I don't have an idea, but the time that we lose is very, very heavy for us. If we get much better, we cannot cover the time that we lose.
Generally, for the months of May and June, maybe because of the weather, and of course because of the gasoline, we were down 30 to 40%. Last week was easy a little bit, and we hope for these coming weeks we'll have better crowd coming in.
As you know, and those of course are listening probably know, that the next 4 weeks have always been the best 4 weeks of the season. And we're hopeful that it will be that way this year. It all depends on the weather right now. If the gas is available, now we need the weather. The weather really hasn't been that good for our particular business. What we need is 90-degree weather. You need some, hot days, some humid days to get people wanting to leave the city. When you have it 50 degrees at night and it's comfortable sleeping without air conditioner, they don't think about going to the seashore. So the weather has been a factor. That's been a problem for us. Certainly the gas has been. The economy is a factor that you can't discount, no way. And of course, the competitive nature of our business, everybody looking for that tourist dollar. So that's why it's imperative that the businessmen on this island understand that they just can't take things for granted anymore. That they have to work for every tourist that comes here. You got to go out and you got to promote what you've got to sell, and sell it hard, and that takes money. Municipalities can't do that individually because it's going to take too much to do it with, and you can't do that because of your budget restraints. Collectively, we can do that.
Tonight we've seen some of the promotional steps being taken by various groups in the county to help fight the gas crisis. And from all appearances, their steps seem to be working.
If you enjoyed watching County Camera, please call 522-0002. That's 522-0002.